Woke up late, somewhere far away from home. Pockets empty, wallet gone. Sun is streaming all on down in my face. Laying down on someone's bed, a girl that I had hardly met. My head is spinning like I've been nowadays. Now you're waking up to lying next to me in your room.
The journey we're about to embark on will include iconic scenery and one of Australia's best-known natural landmarks. One of the greatest parts, we're doing it in a new vehicle from a new brand that you've probably not yet heard of, but you've certainly heard of the destination. It's the majestic Blue Mountains in New South Wales. We've mapped out a sporty drive in a sporty SUV. This is going to be a blast. Our trip begins here at Wentworth Falls. We'll then stop off at some great towns along the way, including Blackheath. A windy run follows where the roads look pretty remarkable. One certainty, the landscape will be incredible. But the final stop is what we're most excited about. This must-see location is off the tarmac and one of the great natural spectacles in Australia. A new car brand is always exciting, so let me tell you more about Cupra. It's the performance offshoot of Spanish mainstream car maker Seat and is owned by the Volkswagen Group. Since 1996, lots of Seat road cars carried the nameplate of Cupra. However, now Cupra is a standalone brand, and this here is just one of 3 vehicles available in Australia. This is the Cupra Formentor. The Cupra Formentor is a sleek, very unique-looking small SUV. But if you're looking for something to compare it to, it's basically a high-riding Spanish derivative of the Volkswagen Golf. The one that we've got our hands on for this trip is the range-topping VZx, finished in an eye-catching petrol blue matte paint. Under the bonnet lies a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol, capable of 228 kilowatts and 400 newton metres. That's mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic, and this car is all-wheel drive. Cupras set themselves apart with their copper badging, but there are a bunch of elements that really help this car stand out, like its continuous rear light bar, its bold edges, and razor-sharp headlights. I think they've done a great job with the styling. It's athletic, trendy, and certainly a head-turner. The first impression is a good one. It is pretty swanky in this cabin, and our range topper has a bunch of features that will no doubt assist us along the way, like wireless charge pad, these leather sport bucket seats which are very comfy, heated steering wheel and heated seats for the front row because I do hear it's going to be very chilly in the mountains. Now, something else I want to make mention of is the ambient lighting throughout this cabin, which you can change depending on your needs. So we're going to be on the go for this one. I think I'm going to switch it to active and voila. Now that my lighting needs are sorted, there's only one thing left to do. The mountains are calling.
Huncho, Quavo, yeah. You know I've been taking some time and I've been keeping to myself. I had my eyes upon the prize, ain't watching anybody else. But your love, it hit me hard, girl. Yeah, you're bad for my health. I love the cards that I've been dealt. Do you feel the same as well? You know I used to be in one deep down.
The very beginning of this trip is on a freeway, but we have come all the way from Sydney, and it's very rare that you do get a road trip without some sort of freeway stint. So that's fine. I'll take this time to familiarise myself with my Cupra and have a play around with the infotainment system and really get to know this car. There's already some things that I've found that I didn't even know existed in this car, and that is the blind spot monitor actually pops up through the ambient lighting on the door, pretty nifty. And also it has gesture controls, so I can swipe through my infotainment system just by moving my hand. The Blue Mountains is Sydney's backyard playground. World Heritage listed, the Blue Mountains are a region west of Sydney in New South Wales. Famous for dramatic scenery, steep cliffs, eucalyptus forests, waterfalls and charming towns. I promise you, you just have to explore them for yourself, as photos don't do this place justice. But why so blue? Well, in 1788, the Blue Mountains were originally named Carmarthen Hills and Lansdowne Hills by Governor Phillip. It wasn't long after that the blue haze surrounding the area saw the change in name to the Blue Mountains. Forests of eucalyptus and gum trees grow in the area. These eucalyptus forests release a large amount of oils into the atmosphere, and when these oils, dust and water vapour combine, it produces quite the optical illusion of blue, of course. The Blue Mountains is home to around 1,000 canyons. Fun fact, they're about 10 times older than the Grand Canyon. The ancient rocks under the mountains are roughly 470 million years old. The good thing about driving through the Blue Mountains is that there are so many towns and they're quite close together, plus there are plenty of amazing lookouts to stop off at. So make sure you bring a picnic blanket and your walking shoes. I didn't bring my walking shoes, I bought my driving shoes because there are some amazing roads coming up and it'll really give me the chance to stretch the legs of this Cupra. If you are exploring the Blue Mountains, if time permits, we suggest making a night of it, or even more. The route we are driving is only around an hour and a half, but we'll be breaking that up and parking up, so that we get to enjoy the best of this region. As mentioned, I didn't bring my walking shoes, which is a big no-no if you want to get up close and personal to waterfalls and other amazing landmarks, because these can only be accessed with a bit of a hike via walking trails. We did manage to visit the town of Blackheath though, located near the highest point of the Blue Mountains between Katoomba and Mount Victoria. This place is full of cool cafes, galleries and local markets. It's also got the most spectacular wilderness and remarkable lookouts. One worthy pit stop was here at Parkland's Country Lodges and Gardens. Set on 28 acres, this secluded retreat boasts magical gardens and luxurious accommodation. But if you miss this town, well, there are plenty of others, including Mount Victoria, Katoomba and Lawson, just to name a few. So let's talk about this Cupra and the performance out on the road. 228 kilowatts and 400 newton meters. We have tested this at drive with launch control. That's right, it's got a cheeky little button and they delivered 4.8 seconds, 0 to 100. So it is pretty quick. It is indeed a performance SUV. Now it really is suited to the open roads and the windy roads that we're going to get treated to on this journey. And that's because this car has great ride comfort, it's got communicative steering, and it's got great power delivery. And that's exactly what you want for all these different kinds of conditions. The other thing you want for a drive like this is different drive modes. So yes, we all love putting it in sport mode, but this car has Cupra mode. It obviously gets a lot firmer, a lot sportier, and the exhaust note gets that much better because you're not just getting noise from the exhaust, but there's actually some artificial noise coming into the cabin, which I actually don't mind the sound of at all. And this makes the drive that much more exciting. Now they say a Cupra Formentor is just like a high-riding golfer, same mechanics as that car, but why I love this car for this trip is because we need that higher ground clearance to tackle these windy Australian back roads. So far, so good. Good car, great roads, and as I promised you, iconic scenery. I mean, these mountains, so many surprises and delights. They really are magical, rain, hail, or shine. Now, you can do the trip that we're doing in a day, you can do it in a week. We're doing it overnight, but this really is something to see, and it's something that you've got to put on your bucket list. One thing I'm really grateful for in this car is its great brakes. Now, we're driving along some rather challenging roads, some are narrow, sharper edges, a few potholes about, and this particular Formentor has the performance brake package. So if you are looking at the options list come purchase time, I think it's a pretty good box to tick. I'm really excited about this particular stretch of road ahead. Now, we've looked at the map and people have told us that the roads ahead of us are some of the most dramatic and unusual stretches of road in New South Wales. I'm not going to tell you exactly where we're going to end up, but what I will say is that a lot of people think that the Cupra is a surprise, but surprise is an understatement for where we're about to head.
I'm gonna need you to raise your glass. I don't care what you put in it. Here's the nights that you can't take back. We live hard, but we love to laugh.
The highlight of this trip will surely be this next must-see location. One of the great natural spectacles in Australia, it's somewhere that's always been on my bucket list and should definitely be on yours. The destination is Janolan Caves. Janolan Caves is the most ancient open caves in the world, with arguably the most beautiful limestone formations. We're about to do a tour through the Orient Cave, which is scientifically proven to be the oldest open known cave in the world, 340 million years old. Now, it's not an adventure cave, so you should enter civilized and come out looking and feeling the same way. But good news, it's always 17 degrees inside with humidity at around 85%. So other than pumping my seat heater on this entire trip, this is probably the first time I'll feel some warmth. And warm it was. When the explorers first arrived at the Orient Cave, they thought it was so stunning that they named the chambers after exotic places in the world. So this cave is a trip to Persia, Egypt, and India. It's truly magical. The team at Janolan Caves have really gone through the wars. They've experienced 2 major floods. Then post-COVID, they suffered a landslide. What's more, Janolan Caves Road was washed out in the second flood and has been closed ever since. But there's good coming. The Mountain Lodge is currently being refurbished, along with a full renovation of Cave House. Be sure to pop in, book a cave tour and support them. The food in Chisholm's is divine and there's even accommodation on the grounds. Oh, and at the end of a long day of exploring, you can enjoy the beautiful sounds of the grand piano. Or if you're lucky enough to be there at the same time as me, the horrendous sounds of a piano being tortured. Must be tone deaf. We've taken a deep dive through the Cupra Formentor over the past couple of days, so it seemed only fitting to take an even deeper dive into the beauty of the Blue Mountains. Finishing up here, this place is truly magical. Now, if you're after a sporty drive or a fun road trip with the family, then make sure you consider this one. Another thing ticked off my bucket list.
So early, feels so bright. I didn't get much sleep last night. A freight train rattled through my head. Whistle blowing, loving is dead. Is dead. Heart attack by fear and doubt.
So we took a sporty SUV on a sporty drive, and of course it was the perfect environment for this car. This trip has had a bit of everything. Yes, it's had the beautiful scenery and the great stop-offs, but the roads, I mean, there's been bends, fast roads, slow roads, but the best part, I know we're in New South Wales, right, but surprise, surprise, there's been no traffic. Okay, so let's talk about this car, the Cupra Formentor. How did it go on this journey, and did we enjoy it? Well, I have to say, so many ticks with this car. Really loved the sound of that engine, even if there was some artificial noise. Had plenty of performance, great rider quality, really comfortable car, amazing turning circle and brakes. So many positive points to take from this Cupra. Just a few gripes to mention with this car. On the move, the infotainment system is a lot to get used to. Lots is buried in that menu. While I love a touchscreen, I'm old school. I really just miss buttons, dials, and shortcuts. Also, one other thing, there's limited storage in the way of, say, popping 2 coffees. You know, I like to drink 2 coffees at once, but the cup holders are a little bit small. There's plenty of space in the boot and the rear though. But other than that, there really wasn't too much to fault with this car. I love driving it through the Blue Mountains. And you know what? A brand new car. I'm excited to see what it brings to the Australian market. But for now, it's wide open road, Blue Mountains ahead of me, and Cupra mode.
But don't worry, don't panic, ain't nothing going on but history.
We hit the road from Sydney and made our first stop at Wentworth Falls. From there, we stopped into Katoomba and Blackheath. The landscape and roads that followed were truly extraordinary, as was our final destination, the must-see Janolan Caves. For more information on pricing and specifications, head to drive.com.au. Plus, get all the details for this drive by scanning the QR code on your screen or visiting us online. Next week on the show, Trent samples some great driving roads not too far from Sydney, exploring some of the East Coast's most famous locations. Not only does this trip include a special car, but a special visit to an airline museum you probably didn't know existed.
Keen to see some of the roads we've already driven? Well, you can download the Roads by Porsche app and perhaps tackle them yourself.